All Americans, not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country, are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more, by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens. In the budget I will present to you, we will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes, to better identify illegal aliens in the workplace, as recommended by the commission headed by former Congresswoman Barbara Jordan. We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws. It is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws we have seen in recent years, and we must do more to stop it.
We are a generous and welcoming people here in the United States, but those who enter the country illegally and those who employ them disrespect the rule of law, and they are showing disregard for those who are following the law. We simply cannot allow people to pour into the United States undetected, undocumented, unchecked, and circumventing the line of people who are waiting patiently, diligently, and lawfully to become immigrants.
Okay, what's going on, everybody? We are here. We're live. Thank you all for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel or if you're a ghost watcher. And also, please, most importantly, make sure you are following me on Telegram at TD Media Group to help circumvent social media censorship and shadow banning. That is extremely important that you follow me on Telegram. That way you'll never miss a notification. You don't have to worry about YouTube playing games. Oh, they unsubscribed me. They're not sending me notifications. If you follow me on Telegram, it's a non-issue, okay? And the link to my Telegram is in the description box below and pinned in the comment section as well, or it will be pinned in the comment section once the stream ends. So now that I got the introduction out of the way, let's get the stream started. Let's get it going, man. There was a massive ICE raid that took place in Houston, right, over the course of the last couple weeks. It wasn't a one-day event, but it was a coordinated event that took place over the course of, it appeared to be somewhere around 3 weeks. And I want to get into that because it was a huge bust. We're talking about hundreds of illegal criminal aliens were taken down, 80% of which had either criminal convictions or criminal charges on them. So Tom Holman and the gang are definitely doing what they're supposed to do down there in Texas, but specifically in Houston, right? But before we get into that, there's a few other things that I want to get into, right? There's a few things that I want to jump into, and let's get into this first. Look at this here. Look at this news here. Migrants clone Border Patrol vehicles in bid to bypass Trump's crackdown. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, they're cloning Border Patrol vehicles now in order to get past Border Patrol. I don't know to what degree this is working, but it's definitely happening. And stick around, right? It's not going to take me too long to get through this article. I'm only going to read a couple of paragraphs, but make sure you hang in there with me because the closing paragraph that I'm going to read in this article is completely ridiculous, okay? So let's jump into this right now. Some human smugglers have turned to cloning Border Patrol vehicles to illegally transfer migrants into the United States amid President Donald Trump's border crackdown. Immigration attorney Misha Moulton, the managing partner and the owner of Misha Moulton Law in Las Vegas, told Fox News Digital that cloning Border Patrol vehicles is not a new phenomenon. She said that criminal organizations are constantly finding new ways to bypass border security. Under the new Trump administration, their efforts have increased amid the president's mandate to halt illegal immigration. The administration's crackdown includes shutting down former President Biden's CBP-1 program, which allowed migrants in Mexico to schedule an appointment to request asylum at a legal border crossing. Moulton said she has witnessed firsthand how these operations create legal chaos, but excuse me, let's start that sentence again. Moulton said she has witnessed firsthand how these operations create legal chaos, put lives at risk, and strain law enforcement resources. The cloning of vehicles is part of a long-standing human smuggling operation in the U.S. Moulton said the smuggling networks profit off of desperation, leaving many migrants trafficked as they illegally enter the U.S. She states, once they're in the country, they may be stranded, extorted, or forced into labor. She said these organizations are also using fake law enforcement vehicles to transport drugs, weapons, and other legal goods, making it even harder for officials to tell the real agents from the criminals impersonating them. And now that's interesting because I would think that, in, I don't know, cloning a vehicle, you would know who's who still, maybe by license plates number or something like that. You would think that there would be some sort of indicator that you would be able to look at on the vehicle that shows whether or not it's real or it's fake. But apparently, this is kind of a little bit of a problem. But this isn't the ridiculous portion that I was telling you about, right? The ridiculous part is what you see here highlighted in blue. Reuters reported that the Trump administration clampdown on illegal immigration has resulted in migrants turning to piracy smuggling operations. One Honduran migrant, Alex Diaz, told the outlet that after his CBP-1 appointment was canceled, he looked into a smuggling operation that promised a safe delivery into the U.S. Here's the ridiculousness, and I quote from this Honduran illegal immigrant. He said, I didn't want to come in illegally, but Trump can't take the American dream from me. I'm going to read that one more time. I didn't want to come into the country illegally, but Trump can't take the American dream away from me. It is unbelievable how entitled foreigners from outside of the country feel. The entitlement is out of control. It's a privilege to be here. It's not a right. But if you let Mr. Diaz tell it, apparently he has some sort of right to be here in the country. And Donald Trump and folks like you and me who voted for Trump are apparently standing in his way and preventing him from achieving the American dream. That's the equivalent of me having a hard time at my job. I can't get a raise, but I tell my boss, man, you know what? My boss and my manager, they're not going to stop me from making more money. So then I start stealing out the register, or I start stealing out the safe, or whatever type of job you have. You just start stealing the money from the company that you work for because you're not going to stop me from achieving the American dream. I want to buy my home. My boss and manager's trying to stop me by not giving me a raise. I'm going to get that raise. And then you just start stealing. That is craziness. The entitlement is out of control. But let's round this article out, and I'll read that one more time. He said, I didn't want to come in illegally, but Trump can't take the American dream away from me, Diaz told Reuters. He told them that the smugglers quoted him $7,000 to reach San Antonio safely. Vehicle cloning is not a one-off event. With U.S. Customs and Border Protection and state law enforcement alerting the public of an increase in smuggling cases using fake Border Patrol vehicles. So apparently this is happening more and more and more, right? Ever since Donald Trump put the clamps on the border. We also saw, as well as we discussed in a previous live stream, that we're seeing more and more and more illegal immigrants wash up to the shores, right? Or at least attempt to wash up to the shores of California by boat, right? We discussed that. I believe that was last week when we saw a couple of videos concerning that. But, not everybody is taking this route, right? Because you have a lot of folks, those from Panama to be exact. Panama sees surge in migrants returning south with U.S. dreams in tatters. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. The U.S. is closed. We're not taking any more in. With dreams of a new life in the United States torn apart by President Donald Trump's hardline stance on immigration, migrants gather in the Panamanian town of Miramar, hoping to take boats home. The Central American country has seen a flood of arrivals from the north and a sharp decrease in the number of crossings from the south following the Trump administration's canceling of asylum appointments and promise of mass deportations. It's time to go home, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to go home, right? Or I guess you can seek asylum in Mexico, which is what you actually should be doing if the asylum seeking process was done correctly. Because how the asylum seeking process is done is that what's supposed to happen is you're supposed to seek asylum within the next, quote, safe country. Most illegal immigrants bypass numerous safe countries just to come here and cross the border illegally. But that's not how that's supposed to work. You're at least supposed to apply for asylum in Mexico. And I don't have that article up in front of me right now. But in Mexico, they are seeing a boom in people filing for asylum over there. Hey, you know, it's a Latin American country. Everybody speaks Spanish. I mean, obviously there's going to be some cultural differences. If you're from Honduras or Panama, you're not from Mexico. I'm not going to disrespect and just say, oh, everybody's the same, because that's not true. Just because you speak Spanish, but you'll most likely be better off, remaining in Mexico than you would be, coming over here and now being on the run from Tom Homan, because he is going to catch you, just like they've been catching folks in Houston and all over the country. I want to jump into this really quick too. Look at this here. How many of you remember when I've told you guys over the course of the last couple of weeks that California is quietly working with ICE? They're quietly doing that, right? They're quietly working alongside and not making a big deal about deportations. Gavin Newsom, Karen Bass, and whatnot. How do I know this? Well, I talked about an article that I came across a few weeks ago concerning a woman, a legal immigrant, who she did a couple of years in jail for, I forgot what the crime was, but she did quite a bit of time in jail. She got out, and her parole officer, or PO, whatever you call that. I'm not familiar with the kind of terminology, but I guess we'll say her parole officer came to her home and said, hey, can you step outside for a moment? I just need you to sign some papers, right? So this is the parole officer, not a federal agent. This is local law enforcement we're talking about. They say, can you step outside for a moment? I just need you to sign some papers. The woman that was on parole, she stepped outside to sign these papers. And as soon as she stepped outside, ICE was right there to walk up behind her and say, you're coming with me, right? And then I also have firsthand knowledge from a family friend who was an illegal immigrant. Tom Homan snatched him up. And I remember it was about a week and maybe 2 weeks ago when my wife had told me this. She was like, hey, such and such got snatched up by ICE. I said, what? She said, yeah, they got him. And how they got him was that he had a court date, right? He had a court date. And when he went to appear in court, ICE was right there to pick him up. Yeah. For the most part, he's a good guy. You know what I mean? Nice guy. I haven't seen him in a couple of years, but the reason I hadn't seen him in a couple of years is because he has a lot of issues also. Legal issues, we'll say. You know what I mean? And with those legal issues that he had, just hadn't seen him in a while, we'll say. And those legal issues is what essentially led to him getting picked up, And it hits different when it's people that but also at the end of the day too, the law is the law. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. It is what it is. Unfortunately, you're in the country doing a couple things that you shouldn't be doing, and you're already here illegally. I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to tell you. It is what it is. The law is the law, right? Because if it was me, it would be the same situation. TD, you're breaking the law, doing things you're not supposed to be doing. The law is the law. Got to get locked up, got to get arrested, got to go to jail. But not to belabor the point too much, let's get straight into this article here that further highlights that what I'm saying is true, right? Anti-ICE bill suffers blow in California. California Governor Gavin Newsom has announced plans to veto Assembly Bill 15, which seeks to prevent the state's prison system from collaborating with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Newsom's office stated that current California law permits the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation to coordinate with ICE regarding individuals convicted of felony offenses who have completed their sentences. Meanwhile, in Florida, St. Johns County Sheriff Robert Hardwick has announced the county's plans to participate in the 287G program, which allows ICE to delegate specific immigration enforcement duties to local law enforcement. So that's something separate that's happening in Florida. But the main thing that I wanted to highlight here was Gavin Newsom's plan to veto this bill that will prevent ICE from being able to coordinate with the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. Gavin Newsom currently right now, and I'm going to do a video on it later on down the line, right? He's trying to rebrand himself as a moderate. Of all people, Gavin Newsom is trying to rebrand himself as a moderate right now, as somebody who's in the center and straight down the middle, and that it's not going to work. I find it comical that he's doing that. But essentially, with Gavin Newsom, he's I guess you could say reading the tea leaves, right? He's reading the tea leaves, and he knows the only way that you're going to survive in this country moving forward, especially the Democrats overall, they have to go moderate. They have to go moderate, and they will go moderate. There's a bit of a tug of war going on right now between the Jasmine Crockett's, the AOCs, and the super progressives of the world. The Rashida Tlaib. Also, make sure you stick around to the end of this video because you will be redirected to another video that I have planned to be uploaded at 1 o'clock concerning Rashida Tlaib, extreme progressive. You'll see that video later and see what I'm talking about. But like I said, there is a little tug of war going on right now within the Democrat Party with these like extreme progressives, the Jasmine Crockett's and AOCs of the world, and those like seemingly Gavin Newsom who want to go the moderate route in order to stay afloat. The moderate route will prevail in the end. It will prevail. But a lot of these guys like Gavin Newsom, they're not going to make it. His attempt to come across and rebrand himself as a moderate, no, not you. Of all people, not Gavin Newsom. Not Gavin Newsom. That's definitely not going to work for you, bro. Yeah, sorry about that. But now, let's get into the meat of today's show, right? Let's get into the meat of the discussion because I want to talk about the huge bust that took place in Houston, right? I want to take a moment to do that as we dive into the meat of today's show. And what I'm going to do right now is I got to take this down and I want to pull up a video clip first. And I want to pull up a video clip that I played, what was it, 2 days ago, of AOC when she was crying about Tom Homan and crying about Kristi Noem, right? Because she made a statement in that video when I played it before, saying that when these ICE raids occur, nobody really gets taken down, right? Nothing actually happens. It's all for show. It's all Hollywood, and nothing's really going on. We're just wasting apparently taxpayer dollars. And I just wanted to take a moment to, I guess you can say, gloat a little bit by playing this clip that aged horribly in the face of literally hundreds of illegal criminal aliens being taken down in Houston, once again, to which 80% of them had either criminal convictions or charges, right? But let's get into what AOC had to say right now. This is a funny picture. Let's get into that. First, if you haven't hit the like button already, please do that. Hit the like button. That's extremely important. If you're new to the channel, watching me for the first time, please subscribe to the channel, right? And hit the bell notification next to the subscribe button. And also Telegram. Please follow me on Telegram. You'll never miss a notification if you are following me on Telegram. That is extremely important that you do that. The link to my Telegram is in the description box below, and will be pinned in the comment section once the stream is over. Let's get into this right here.
We really haven't seen before this kind of Hollywoodification of law enforcement activity. You've got Kristi Noem doing made-for-TV ICE stings where they get, by the way, they pick up almost nobody in these. You've got Tom Homan going on Fox News threatening members of Congress for educating everyday Americans of their constitutional rights. You know, it's not just that this is a deep, deep betrayal of their jobs, but it's also the fact that every time you see Tom Homan on Fox News, every time you see Kristi Noem, every time you see these law enforcement.
That's enough. We don't need to hear you speak anymore. Thank you. That's okay. We got the point. You guys heard that last week. You know, I can't listen to AOC for too long. But she said nobody gets picked up. Nobody gets picked up. Well, that simply isn't the case because literally hundreds of illegal immigrant criminal aliens got picked up in Houston. And I want to get into that right now. So let me pull that article up as we round things out. Let's get into this right here and get off of her and come over. Well, not there, but here. There we go. I found it. So, massive ICE operation nabs nearly 650 illegal aliens in Texas, over 80% with criminal charges or convictions. This is extremely important that I go through this because I don't recall what city this one particular ICE raid occurred in, but I did talk about it in a live stream because I talk about ICE raids obviously all the time on this channel. But many of you may remember there was an ICE raid that went down in a city that I can't recall the name of, where I talked about how when CBS covered it, they brought out the small violins and they started talking about, you know, family separation and, you know, somebody's daughter was crying and yada, yada, yada. But then in the other news outlet, the acronym is SAN. I forgot what SAN stands for, but many of you are familiar with that YouTube channel. That news outlet, they reported the ICE raids accurately, in which they ran down all of the criminal convictions and charges that these guys had on them when they got picked up, you know? So once again, I wanted to go through this quickly because it's important that we do this so that we understand that when the, you can say, opposition party attempts to break out the small violin and, you know, oh my God, family separation, yada, 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 we break down, you could say, the actual data of who's getting picked up and why. So let's jump into this right here, because like I said, this is a massive takedown in Houston. A multi-agency week-long immigration crackdown in Houston, in the Houston area this month, resulted in the arrest of 646 illegal aliens, including 543 criminal aliens and 7 documented gang members. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement said, along with federal, state, and local law enforcement, conducted the operation between February 23rd and March 2nd in the Houston area to bolster public safety, national security, and border security. ICE and its partners executed 71 criminal arrest warrants and arrested 543 illegal undocumented aliens who had been charged with or convicted of criminal offenses while being illegally in the U.S. Of the criminal aliens arrested, 140 were charged or convicted of an aggravated felony or violent offense like homicide, aggravated assault, or domestic violence. These are the people that AOC is trying to protect. These are the people that Jasmine Crockett is trying to protect. When Jasmine Crockett's running around here saying that crossing the border illegally apparently isn't a criminal offense. Right? These are the people they're trying to protect. Let's get into it right here. What you see right here in purple, I can't read that, unfortunately, but I'll let you read it yourself. I'll just summarize what this purple portion is. Another 34 criminal aliens have been charged or convicted with violating children, as I say. And when I say violating, I'm talking about the R word. Another 34 criminal aliens have been charged or convicted with violating children and being in possession of child videotapes, we'll say. When I say videotapes, I'm talking about the P word. You guys know what I mean, what I'm really trying to say. Sick and disgusting. Sick and disgusting. These are the people that they're trying to protect. The violators of children and those that are in possession of videotapes of children. Anyways, the article continues to read, ICE noted that 38 of the criminal aliens who were arrested were convicted of illegal firearm offenses, like unlawful carrying of a firearm, alien in possession of a firearm, and aggravated assault with a firearm, while 52 were charged or convicted of offenses like drug trafficking or criminal possession of controlled substance. 51 criminal aliens were charged with or convicted of property crimes, and 93 were charged or convicted of driving while intoxicated, which is clearly and obviously putting other people's lives at risk. These are the folks that the DNC lunatics are trying to protect. In recent years, some of the world's most dangerous fugitives, transnational gang members, and criminal aliens have taken advantage of the crisis at our nation's southern border to illegally enter the U.S. ICE Enforcement and Removal Operation Houston Field Officer Director Brett Bradford said in a statement, after illegally entering the country, many of these criminal aliens have gone to commit violent crime and rain terror on law-abiding residents. I can't stress enough, when it comes to the, I guess you can call it the ultra progressive side of the DNC, to me, they're all progressive. I look at them all the same. But when you look at that, once again, the AOC, the Jasmine Crockett, the squad, even though the squad doesn't really exist anymore, that's like a thing of that's like non-existent anymore. But Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, they will cry foul on this. You see all the people that got picked up, all of the crimes that were committed, all of the violation of children that we see here. And some way, somehow, apparently, this is xenophobic. This is xenophobic. This massive ICE operation that nabbed nearly 650 illegal aliens in Texas, Houston to be exact, is xenophobic. Despite the fact that 80% of them had criminal charges or convictions. Go figure. Why they want to protect these particular folks, I don't know. Why they're against common sense legislation, I don't know. Well, I do know, but then I'll just make the stream longer, right? So I just better to say I don't know. I don't know. But that also explains why the Democrats have a 21% approval rating as well, right? And that is definitely justified. And with all that being said, that's going to do it for today's show. So please, before you get out of here, I have 882 people following me on Telegram. The goal is to have 1,000 people following me on Telegram before this month is over. Please follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. Okay? Telegram, TD Media Group. Let's reach that 1,000 followers on Telegram goal by the end of this month. There's only 882 of you guys following me on Telegram. Let's get to 1,000. I would deeply appreciate that. The link to my Telegrams in the description box below. It's pinned in the comment section as well once the stream ends, okay? And if you're following me on Twitter, I'll pin it. I'll link it on Twitter, okay? Because I see some of you guys are watching me on Twitter as well, all right? So please do that for me. I would deeply appreciate it. Shout out to everybody that's watching me on Rumble right now. Those of you watching me on YouTube, clearly, those of you watching me on X, please subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video out on your social media platforms. Telegram. I can't stress that enough. And shout out to Mr. Taylor, who came through and said, why isn't the DOJ going after the Biden administration? They literally aided and abetted felons. That's a great question. And the honest answer is that that's just not going to happen. They're just not going to go after the Biden administration. That's just, it's not going to happen. You know, that's all I got for you. I mean, we all know that's not, if anything's not going to happen, that's not going to happen, right? That's just not going to happen. I wish I could tell you different, but it really upsets me that they just get to walk off into the sunset, the Biden administration, after all of the havoc that they unleashed onto the country. I wish that there was a way that they could be held accountable, you know, especially Alejandro Mayorkas, who lied repeatedly under oath, saying that the border was secure when it wasn't. But that's just the way things are, man. Mr. Taylor, that's just the way things are. It's just not going to happen, unfortunately. But anyways, thank you all for joining me today. Please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video on your social media platform. Shout out to my man Saul, who came through with the buzzer beater. He said TD and spammers are the only ones on Telegram. I think you meant to say maybe scammers, maybe. Oh, that's funny. TD and scammers are the only one on Telegram. Big facts. So big facts. That's why you got to follow me over there. That's where all the scams are going down. That's hilarious. And shout out to my man Rob, who was ghost watching this whole time. I don't think I saw a comment come up from you now one time. Rob was ghost watching, but Karen brought him out of hiding. Karen said, how is Rob? BLR. Haven't seen him in a while. I appreciate you, Karen, for making Rob come out of hiding. Stop ghost watching, bro. Stop doing that. Anyways, I got to go. Thank you guys for watching today. Once again, stick around to the very end of this video because you're going to be redirected to the next video that's scheduled to be released at 1 p.m. today. Speaking of DNC lunatics, Rashida Tlaib is definitely a lunatic. And what you're going to see in that video at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So I'll catch you guys over there later. Thank you guys for joining me. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share this video out. And Telegram. I will catch you guys later. Peace and have a great afternoon.